Welcome to Off Grid Victory. So for 2019 here, I wanted to put in a new garden, a bigger garden, and I have this kind of flattish pasture area that I want to start to garden, but what do you do with that right there, the grass? And so there's alternative methods. I met Paul Gauchi years ago, and he told me the best way to do something like this, to convert a field of grass into a garden, is to go ahead and put cardboard down and then put wood chips on top of it, let it break down for at least a season or two. So over the fall into the spring, that kind of thing, or even longer. And that's the best way to start a garden from scratch. But if you wanted to do it fast, normally what I've done in the past is I would till that up into dirt, and then I would just put my topsoil and wood chips on top of that to start my garden. So here I started bringing in some wood chips, and here I didn't have cardboard material. Over here I had cardboard material, so it's nicely done over there. And but that's not going to be an effective way to start my garden, because if you have grass like that, well, obviously the grass is going to compete with your garden, and this stuff, the wood chips here, aren't going to break down fast enough in order to start a garden. So I started bringing in some topsoil, and the topsoil I have here is just a mulch material. Well, sorry, it's a compost material, mainly comprised of leaves. There's a recycling center nearby that makes compost and mulch, and so they'll chip branches and such for mulch like this, and then for to sell, which is great for the municipality. They take in large amounts of leaves and then they mulch it down to that, and then let it sit, let the water hit it, blah blah blah, and turn into this nice black compost material. Now this has been sitting a couple days, so you can see it dry, and then you can see some of the wetness there. And here is a nice and dark compost material for the garden. So going back to the video, what do you do with all this grass here? Normally what I do is I would take a shovel and just kind of roll it over so the grass would die on itself, and then cover it with wood chips, leave it for a couple seasons, and then get to my garden. For this particular garden, I want to start it fast. So other than using the standard Back to Garden Eden method of putting down cardboard material and then putting let's say compost and mulch on top, well, it's been really cold here in the Ozarks, and hot here, so freezing and then super warm and then back and forth, lots of rain, and then guess what it turns into? It turns into mush. Look at this. So this is what's left over after I've driven over the grass a couple times, and partly it was to get this compost here and the mulch over here in. And I've noticed I was starting to sink into this material, and driving over it a few times, I noticed, well, look what I have. I basically, there you go, I can barely walk here. I've basically taken all of the grass and mushed it back into the ground. There's a little patch here, but as you can see, I'll just drive over this again and it'll be mushed right into the ground. And so I don't even need cardboard at this point to start off my garden. It's just been demolished. All that grass has been ripped to shreds just by going over it back and forth a few times in order to create my little mound of compost here to start. And of course the wood chips over here as borders and as in-betweens for my garden. So just another alternative method in starting a Back to Eden garden. If the weather permits and you got this nastiness, well, hey, turn that frown upside down, obviously, and use it. And so no need for cardboard. Just rip up the soil with whatever means you have, whatever vehicle you have, and then destroy the pasture area that you want to start your garden in for your mulch and your wood chips. All right, that was my tip of the day. Shalom.